Why wouldn't I do something about it? Why would I risk what we have?
Because you haven't done anything about it until it became public, because you thought it was under the water.
Because I had no knowledge of it.
I made knowledge of it to you when I was fired, and you just blew it off and let me go. I retained a lawyer.
Because you were not very good. You were not a very good announcer. You could not.
I'm tired of being humble. I'm tired of letting people think they got a chance. The tribal chief is head and shoulders above everybody.
Hey, we here at the locker room. We'll talk about why Vince McMahon past scandals always haunt him. We'll talk about how WWE got exposed during the 1992 Rainbow scandal. Get the lights up in the locker room. We about to turn it up on this.
Is underway here. Gentlemen, Murray Hodgson, hired by Vince McMahon, here on my left for the TV job. You were the commentator. And then fired 2 months later. What happened? Can you specifically, and without taking us around the world, tell us, what is it that happened to you?
I wouldn't sleep with the vice president of operations, so they fired me.
Is the vice president of operations one of those who resigned?
Yes, he is.
And do you want to name him?
I don't think that'd be necessary.
What did you announce? Did you do any color for any telecasts?
Yes.
About how long did you do the color?
Oh, I started for about a month. They hired me for a 2-year deal and just went right out the window when I decided that I didn't want to sleep with the vice president.
Was there any touching? Was there any kind of vulgar locker room activity? We're trying to be specific here, Murray, as a court of law would oblige any person to be of any gender.
It was a little worse than that. He blatantly threatened my job security.
He didn't say sleep with me, did he? Is that the way men talk?
I don't think this is the proper forum to be
I agree with
the
you, and I appreciate
details.
very much you're bringing a certain amount of decorum to this. This is a daytime television show, and we don't want to draw any dirty pictures. Did it happen more than once?
No.
Just once?
Yeah.
And then how long after you said no were you dismissed?
Just a couple of weeks.
Barry Orton. Here's Barry O, the former professional wrestler who you think you lost your job with the WWF after refusing similarly.
Now keep in mind, guys, this is the Randy Orton, current Randy Orton's uncle, guys. Anything you want to add to this, TBK, before he speak? These are real wrestlers. These are real people.
Well, I think the reason this is being brought back to light so long because a lot of these guys are no longer with us now, and it's just resurfacing because they just got sued, Vince and Leonard, like you explained earlier. But yeah, this is just, if hadn't most of these people been gone, this stuff would have been got exposed even years earlier. Then it got resurfaced.
Actually, no, I've never actually said that. Okay, that's something that the media has come out, and with the stories that I've given, they have kind of turned it around to where I've said that. I've never said that. However, I had encounters with two of the gentlemen that have resigned since the allegations began. And these incidents, of course, happened in 1978, which is a long time ago. However, the impact and the gravity of the situations are very severe. And, you know, if they were behaving that way then, and, you know, they would be behaving that way now, I would expect.
No laugh here. You accuse an executive grabbing your crotch, legs, and chest and wouldn't stop.
Yeah, well, I was in between the two of them in the back seat of the car on the trip.
You were in the center.
Right.
You thought it to be a place where a junior guy has to sit.
Pretty much.
This would be early 80s?
This was 1978.
78.
Right.
So this is before the billion-dollar Wrestling Mania pay TV Hulk Hogan era. And you had to drive. You know, you guys weren't walking in money then.
Right. And everyone, you know, the more people in the car, the better, because everyone would split the expenses and keep their car.
And then don't you saying that you got out of the car and said, not me? And
Oh, yeah. You know, went on for several minutes. I finally demanded that the car be. At first, I thought it was kind of funny that they were joking, but then it became, you know, harassment.
Right. Barry, it would be hard for a jury to feel a whole lot of sympathy for a guy of your size. You know what I mean? A helpless woman you're not.
And see, that'd be the problem with male issues right there, because of your size and how males are considered the stronger vessel that don't mean it's okay to grope, and that don't mean that he's not telling the truth. We've seen this with the industry celebrities, Terry Crews. Now that's a big old man there. Anything you want to add, TBK?
Yeah, you just said it. Terry Crews was crazy. He was in wrestling at one point too, back in WCW. I didn't even know he was in WCW at one point. Back in late '90s, Terry Crews in WCW.
Good info. Good info.
How old were you when this transpired?
19 years old. Probably about 35 pounds lighter.
And also probably not altogether together in your head, like a lot of 19-year-olds. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely not. You know, and I was trying to be accepted into the business. I was young, I was green.
And you got the big dream ahead of you. Maybe you're going to be the big guy. And there was money if you got on the main card.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're following your dream, and I suppose you want us to know, among other things, that when a couple of guys in the game, executive types, come on to you like that, and you're 19 years old, you may be a little hesitant to tee them off.
Of course. And so I endured it for as long as I could until it became, I started feeling suffocated or, and I couldn't take it anymore.
Tom Hankins, you're likewise a pro wrestler. What's your story, Tom?
Well, I'm a former pro wrestler. I got out of the business about 4 years ago, but back in 1985 in Los Angeles, California, at the University Hilton Hotel, after the WWF had run a card at the sports arena, I was sitting at a bar with, I guess, can I name these people?
Sure, go ahead.
With Pat Patterson, Andre the Giant, Dr. Jerry Graham, and Mike LaBelle. He was a Los Angeles promoter at the time, or a former promoter in Los Angeles.
Right.
And we sat there drinking maybe for an hour or so. I was talking to Pat. I'd known Pat for maybe 6 months. I knew he was gay, but, it didn't matter to me if he was gay or not. And I knew he was actually kind of running the shows in L.A. at the time. I don't believe he was in position as the booker yet. And I asked him...
Let me interrupt to say that he is one of the executives who has resigned.
Right.
Very good, sir.
And I asked him what's the chance of using me to do jobs, which means I was a loser. I'm not real big. I never made a lot of money in the business. I didn't really expect to go in the WWF, make a lot of money. But
you wanted to be in the game.
Yeah, I loved the business. I worked for $10 a night sometimes in Tennessee, just to wrestle, just to be in the business.
Right.
At the time, in '85, I was wrestling in Hawaii and Mexico and Southern California. So I asked Pat for, if you give me a shot or at least a tryout. He said, well, you got 2 chances, slim and none. He goes, well, there is one way. And he wanted me to come up to the room with him and have oral sex with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, I'm not interested. And after that, I went to the next show they had at the sports arena. Went down to the dressing room where they'd always let me, I was in the dressing room, friends with a lot of the other wrestlers there. And Pat had me physically thrown out after that, acted like he didn't know me.
Right. What brings you forward now, gentlemen?
Actually, I came forward because when Vince said Barry's charges were ridiculous, it was just, I knew it was something that went on in the business, and anybody in this business really knew about it, knew what was going on with Patterson.
Mm-hmm. So this is like this is a feature of this culture that has been underway for a long time. And because it often involves near jobless, vulnerable young males who wanted to be either in the game or on the card, they'd back up and nobody wanted to blow any whistles. And I think, if I may, this also should be said, you didn't get a lot of press scrutiny. Nobody took you seriously anyway. Mainstream sports press today doesn't. And Mushnick of the New York Post writes a piece, Phil Mushnick of the New York Post, his lead last week, the billion-dollar pro wrestling empire is about to be shaken to its foundations by a teenage boy scandal, the Post has learned. All right.
There it is, guys. That's all I have for why Vince McMahon past scandals will always haunt him. We're talking about when Vince McMahon was on Donahue's show and the other accusers that was on that show as well, including Barry Orton, Randy Orton's uncle. But as you can see, this stuff is still coming back to light after 30 plus years. You guys click up the links below to the 2 videos. And as usual, OUT.